y'all, Michael here. I'm in Frisco, Texas. It is Saturday, March 6th. We're at the Museum of the American Railroad. We're going to explore some of our history and up to the modern days here on the American Railroad. Come join us. The Museum of the American Railroad started in 1962 at Fair Park in Dallas. They started out with 3 acres, and eventually in 2012 they moved up to Frisco and expanded to 13 acres. It was quite a massive move and definitely a newsworthy event. I just want to introduce our tour guide here, Steve Williams. Steve, yes. I appreciate you allowing us to hang out with you. How long have you been with the Modern Museum of the American Railroad?
I've been here about 6 or 7 years. And I do tours just about every Saturday, and I also show people around inside too. And I'm a volunteer. I've been just enjoying it, doing it all the time. I did a couple of them last week, and I'm going to do a couple this week too also.
Oh, good deal. I'm really looking forward to it.
Now these 3 engines right here, we got them from California, and altogether we got 4 engines altogether. You'll notice a B unit from the F unit. We have a B unit out there. We got 4 of them altogether, and them 4 took 6 months for us to get from California all the way to here. And why is they're like second-class citizens. They might sit for a while, and then whenever they have some open spots, they put them in, and then they pick them up and bring them along. So, okay, come on in. Just go in here to the left and start walking down. Well, inside here is bearings, and you can open this up, okay, and look inside there and see the bearing. And they would lubricate these bearings with either some cotton, or a lot of times they would get just rags, and they would put oil on the rags or grease or something like that and stuff it in there. This is mainly they would get the guys from point A to point B. And you'll notice they got the handles on it. If you pull them handles out, if you got 4 good sized guys, you could pick that thing up and get it off the track, let the train go by, and put it back on the track, and away you go from point A to point B. It's for the maintenance guys. Okay? Now this car right over here is our oldest car. This car was made in 1900. So this car is 121 years old. Originally when this car was made, it was all wooden. They put this metal on it to protect it. They also electrified it. When they electrified it, they drilled in through the roof and they put a canvas roof on here. Canvas doesn't last very long in Texas. So after about 10 years, it starts cracking and water starts getting in. And that's why we have the tarp on it, so it doesn't deteriorate. We don't want water getting inside of our car here. But this is called an observation car. An observation car is usually the last car on the line. And you notice it got the big windows. It has 2 bedrooms in it, and it has a kitchen in the middle. So you could have like 2 families in there, or maybe 1 big family, or you could have like a corporation in there, okay? But they also put air conditioning in here, so it's a very nice car. And also in the end, the politicians could give their speech, or you could sit a chair out there and just watch the countryside go by as you're going down the train. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he was the only president to serve more than 2 terms, and that was during World War II. This car was on his funeral train. He died in office in Washington, D.C. He was laid to rest in New York City, okay? And his funeral train went from Washington, D.C. to New York City. This was on his funeral train right here. This is the one that came up and then the hideaway. Okay. And this one has a ladder, so you can go up the ladder and get into the top rung. And then you can go into this room if you want. So this is called a drawing room. And,
Can you imagine going down and traveling in something like this? This is amazing. Little wash tank. Little lounge car. You can just sit here. And right next to it is where you're gonna.
Now there was all rooms in here, and a company got this car and they tore out this area in order to do this stuff right here. And what they did in this area was they made a shop. And this right here is a ticket on this train right here. And so you would get your ticket and they would punch it. And this train usually would go from like New York area all the way down into Miami. It was on the eastern seaboard. Okay. Now over here, we talk about our museum. And this is eventually going to be made. And I'm going to show you where this is going to be made, but it's going to be on Cotton Gin Road. And last year we put over $1 million worth of track in. We put these 3 lines in and these lines over here. This year we're going to put these 3 lines in. So we're going to lay another $1 million worth of track. All this track is ours. When we come up here, there was bare land. So it costs a lot of money to put this track in. Oh, wow. Okay. Now behind me here it talks about the porters, the Pullman Corporation. They were employees of the Pullman Corporation. Okay. And the porters did what the airline stewardess did. They bring the luggage on, make up your room. If you needed something, they would get it for you. And just about anything you needed, you would ask the porter, you know, can you do this or get that? Now the guys would usually probably sit back here and they would smoke their cigarettes and drink coffee. I mean, back in the 50s and 60s, they smoked like chimneys. Oh, yeah. You know? The gals would usually be up front with the kids. And in the middle, sometimes people would sit in there and do their paperwork, you know. Pretty nice. Them actually rock and they swivel, too.
Yeah, I noticed that. Those are pretty nice.
This is a sandbox. They put sand at the top of that, and you'll notice it comes out on the wheels onto the track to lay sand. Okay, that's your sandbox right there. This is a large tank that would hold fuel. It held so much fuel that it would cause a lot of times cracks in the frame of the engine. And it held 8,200 gallons of fuel, a little bit more than 8,200. There was 2 3,300 horsepower engines on here. They also had these engines in submarines and on some trains too, as you can see. There's one engine, 3,300 horsepower in the Pacific, one engine, 3,300 horsepower. So combined, that's almost 70,000 horsepower. For passenger service. They tried using this engine, they tried putting it on the full freight, and it really didn't do it. Inside of that door, there's a potty. And if that train is going along and the engineer or the conductor needs to go potty, well, that's where they go. You can't stop the whole train because you got to go potty. You got to go, you got to go. So that's where they go.
Must be fun up in the north.
No, I think
Tell what type of train it is. This would be called a 484, and it's by each section of wheels. So you got two wheels on each side there. So that would be 4. You got 8 of the large drive wheels, and then 4 in the back. And Steve just let us know that these wheels are actually helper wheels. They actually would apply steam to these to help get the train started. These wheels right here, which you saw a picture of Carolyn in front of, are 72 inches. Massive wheels.
And these are drivers. Now the big wheels is for passenger service, and if you have smaller wheels, that's usually for freight. Now you'll notice our big boy, what we're coming up to, has smaller wheels, and you'll say, well, why do they have smaller wheels on the big boy? Because he's for strength, not speed. These are made for speed, that's made for strength. Two different things. 1.2 million pounds. It can hold 25,000 gallons of water and 100,000 pounds of coal and go through that in about an hour. Okay. Now, they made big boys from 4,000 up to 4,024. Ours is number 408, so ours is one of the last ones made. This was made in 1943, and it debuted in you know, mid to late 40s, okay? Because it took a year for them to break it in and get it ready for service. And that's all it did, was took supplies over top of the Sasquatch Mountains, which was between Utah and Montana, that area right there, okay? And it just took supplies back and forth. And it could pull a mile-long train fully supplied all by itself over top of them mountains. It didn't need any help. It was class last year. The whole third grade went up there, and they took their class picture up there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool, you know?
Bell. I noticed the bell.
Yeah, and I was really surprised whenever that guy proposed to the gal. She went right up there like it was nothing, and he went up behind her and handed her a ring and got in his knee
Did they
and
ring the bell when
proposed.
they were done?
Oh, we was all clapping. There was like 20 of us around, you know? Yeah, it was pretty cool.
This one has some historical significance with me. Back when I was a little kid, I was at Don Carter's ranch. Don Carter was the original owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and got onto this caboose. This is one of the first cabooses that were made out of metal. Most of them, like this one over here, were made out of wood.
Regular stops along the way to get the passengers.
So I remember crawling this caboose, opening the toilet seat, and all you could see was the earth below. That's how they used the bathroom back then. It was just a big hole for a toilet. Things you remember when you're a child. Well, that's it for the tour. Appreciate y'all coming out and hanging out with us. There's hundreds of cars out here. What I'm showing you is only a little bit of it. So please come out here. Tickets are online. It's at historictrains.com. This is a great organization. They're preserving our history, and they're constantly refurbishing it. So come out here and take your family. It's fun for all ages. But for now, take care, be safe. Bye.